Impact of Influence.
Covering true crime throughout the Southeast.
Hello, friend. So grateful you're going to spend time with us. Do appreciate that. I am Matt Harris. Seton Tucker seated across from me, which you would see if you're on the YouTube channel, the new YouTube channel for Impact of Influence. The best way to find it is go to the Impact of Influence Facebook page, which we hope you'll go to so you can join in the conversation. We're part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. And today, on this particular episode, we are going to go through some comments from you guys. And don't worry, we're going to get to the Juror 785 in just a minute.
We knew we were going to get a lot of response from that one. So we'll go over some of that. Some good, some bad.
Some indifferent. No, never indifferent. And we again.
Those are the people who don't respond.
Yes. Like it was mid. Again, we've said this 1,000 times. We want to emphasize it again. We take all the criticism and all the love, whatever it is you want to bring, and try to get better and learn from it. So it's all appreciated. Please rate and share and comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast so we can keep doing this for you. So,
speaking of ratings, I want to start with the Apple reviews. Actually, I'm going to start with a good one before we get into some of the bad ones. This one was labeled great. Love Seton's dad. This was the best explanation of what to expect moving forward. And this was the conversation we had with my dad about Alex Murdaugh's the Supreme Court reviewing his bid for a new trial.
We also have a YouTube comment about him from Lawyer's Daughter, but was it you?
No, it was not me, but that's interesting. What did Lawyer's Daughter say?
Great interview, especially engaging since you've all reported on the Murdaugh saga, pre-trial, at trial, and post-trial hearings, etc. Great to see friendly collaborations, mutual respect between media platforms, and an amazing interview with your dad, Seton.
Oh, well, she can relate because she's a lawyer.
Spot on commentary is what she said. Yes.
Oh, that was nice. We also got, which was very flattering to me, Jen Wood with Fitz News said that she really liked that particular episode and that my dad wants to make her go to law school.
Oh, there you go.
I know. I thought that was really sweet.
He's a good professor of law as well as a attorney.
Well, let's move on to the ones that maybe aren't as good. The worst interview.
That was actually labeled that?
That was labeled, yeah,
wow,
the worst interview.
That's saying something.
And this was talking...
Of all time? Or
I don't know. I wish these were not as anonymous. I mean, it's good because people can give their valid feedback, but, it would be nice to be able to have a dialogue. What did you think was so bad, or ask a question about it? But anyway, I forgot my glasses, so if you will read that.
Giving so much benefit of the doubt to the dismissed Murdaugh trial juror was it for me. Doesn't make sense. She's all over the place and comes off as completely unreliable. The conclusions she's making are not based on logic, and y'all keep going with the interview as if it does make sense. The nonsense that is being spun makes my head hurt. I don't
Well, I will get in some of, because we had a lot of dialogue on our Facebook page, Impact of Influence. We'll go over some of the things that we could respond to. They, I don't know. We'll get into it more, but clearly they did not like it. And then there was this really weird one. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Someone reviewed our episode 143, which was an entire year ago, and said one of the worst.
143.
Yeah, it was from September of 2003 or 2023. Yeah. So I thought that was so weird. Why was somebody maybe they're late to the game. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but at least
we appreciate you going back and listening to some of our old ones, but they basically said we were disappointing, that they thought maybe we were on the payroll. One of those ones.
The Murdaugh payroll, that old
thing, which we're not. But now let's get into some of the reviews about our interview with Valerie.
Valerie Beerline.
Yeah.
Yep.
They said, great podcast. I really enjoyed the podcast with Valerie Beerline. It's one of the best. So many details about the Murdaughs and Alex victims. I'm looking forward to reading the book. And this week, she made the New York Times bestseller list.
Very good.
Yeah, so
congratulations.
Great for Valerie. You can find her book anywhere, Amazon.
Devil at his elbow.
And also, the Egg Jurors book is now up. I think it didn't come up until September 2nd. But it is now available on Amazon as well.
There was also another comment. Do you want me to give you the other comment? We play a clip?
Yeah, and play the clip.
Another comment about Valerie. The Devil at His Elbow is the name of the book, and it's a great read. Absolutely great read. There's a lot of great reads out there about Murdaugh. This one is from Reagan and Mike. Amazing interview. The towel in the truck left me stunned. If you haven't listened yet, or you forget what that was about, here is a clip from my interview with Valerie Beerline about her book, The Devil at His Elbow.
The towel. So she was, we all watched Daniel Green's body cam, right? The first officer on the scene. And so he rolls up and he's looking around and he turns to the open Suburban at one point. The doors open, the hazard lights are on. And for a fleeting second, maybe like 1.72 seconds or something like that, you see the interior of his vehicle and it's a mess. I mean, there was spit cups in there was sunflower seed bag, there's all sorts of stuff, but there is a wadded up beach towel right kind of between the console and the driver's seat. And Blanca was watching that. She was at home at that time and she was watching with her husband. She's like, pause it, stop it, rewind. And she watched it over and over again. And she said she just had to sit down. She said, I knew when I saw that towel. And I was like, why? And she said in all the years, she's the one that cleans Alex's truck every week, gets all the yucky stuff out and cleans it out. Never ever once was there a beach towel in the truck, for one thing. But the other thing, she had washed that towel and folded it. It was a beach towel that Maggie was supposed to take back to Edisto. And it was on top of the shelf over the washer dryer. She had put it there. So she said he must have gone in the laundry room, grabbed that towel to dry off after spraying himself off, grabbed a shirt off the drying rack because she ironed his t-shirts. They would hang on the drying rack and then she would iron them. And she said, that's when I knew. That's when I couldn't deny to myself anymore that he had killed them because of the towel.
Wow. That was one of the many revelations in that book.
Yeah, really, that was interesting. I also was jealous that someone had somebody to iron their T-shirt.
Yeah, nice.
Like, next level.
That'd be nice.
But no, it is interesting about the different things that people see that makes them convinced of guilt or innocence one way or the other. Hearing that completely makes sense. But when we talked to the egg juror, one of the things that stuck out to her with guilt or innocence was Robert Dale Davis, the caretaker of the dogs, having to put down Alex's dog when it was ill because Ella couldn't do it, and said, how could this person, just interesting
shoot his
to
son,
me,
but not, yeah.
different perspectives. But I thought that was one of the, again, many, many nuggets in her book that were really, really interesting.
Myra Cahill 546 on the YouTube channel said, Jason Ryan's book Swamp Kings was an excellent read on the history of the Murdaugh family. It reads like a mafia family with the solicitors operating as godfathers. I look forward to reading Valerie Beerline's book now that it is available. In my opinion, there's the best books of many written about Alex Murdaugh and the family saga. 100 Years of Crimes, Inordinate Influence, and No Accountability Until Now.
Yeah, we had Jason Ryan on. I don't know. I loved our interview with him. He was, and also Michael DeWitt too, our friend.
Michael DeWitt's book too. We've had them all on, and go back and find
them. And Becky Hill.
Oh, and Becky Hill we had on. Yes,
we even had Becky Hill on.
The Juror, yes.
We've interviewed a lot of people, and I think they're all worth hearing. We'll get into why people think you can't talk to certain people. You're only supposed to present this one side. But anyway, let's get to the Facebook comments because I think that's where we're really going to get into it. One comment had to do with Becky Hill being responsible for a lot of future appeals on different cases. So if these allegations are true and that she did tamper with the jury, would that affect other cases where she was the clerk of court? I don't know. That's a good question.
I would think there would be a problem with the distance, the time from when whatever case happened until now. That they'd be like, she was only the clerk of court for 3 years. I mean, there's right, but I mean, it's already been what, over? It would probably be at least 2 years.
I don't know. I mean, it's a valid question. Like, are they going to have to review other cases?
Only if a juror comes forward, probably, right?
And then another comment that someone made on our Facebook page, which I thought was spot on: if Alex Murdaugh is awarded a new trial, Becky is the person who's responsible for that. If they rule if they rule her actions in some way caused him to get a new trial, don't be mad at Alex Murdaugh. You can be mad at him for lots of different things. I mean, he's a pretty despicable person.
Terrible person, yes.
Terrible person, but I mean, the new trial is not on him if she did do the things that they say she did.
If it's ruled in that way, yep.
All right. Someone asked the question, will Myra Egger's testimony affect Becky's ethics investigation? So I did do a little bit of research into this. So Becky does have an ethics hearing scheduled for December, which will be open to the public, and um, she's being investigated for a lot of different
Not
things.
everything's Murdaugh.
No,
Most of it isn't.
misuse of public funds. There was this whole stuff about federal funds that were used for child support enforcement and use of courthouse property. There's a lot of different things that she's being investigated. Again, she's innocent until proven guilty. But I guess, well, Myra didn't testify. She wasn't part of the evidentiary hearing. She was never heard from.
On the Murdaugh evidentiary
On the Murdaugh evidentiary hearing. So she wasn't heard from during this evidentiary hearing. Becky will have a chance to respond to the allegations. And based on what she says, Myra may or may not, it might not be important
Right.
based on what Becky says.
And there's a lot of other, like you said, we want to make sure you understand there's a lot of other ethics violations. Most of them have nothing to do with the Murdaugh trial.
Right.
Or at least they're just auxiliary or something.
Okay, now we had a lot of comments. Some people found her credible. One listener commented that she could not get past the fact that Judge Newman dismissed her for valid reasons, and he found her to not be.
He found that she had spoken to people about the trial.
Right.
I don't agree with someone earlier said she was all over the place. It didn't make sense because she made sense to me.
And this person had watched the or I don't know if that person, because that was Apple review, we couldn't respond to it. But this person in particular who commented on the Facebook page had watched her on the Fox special, which is Fox News Nation, and I don't have that channel, so I was not able to watch it, so I can't really speak on that. I personally thought that she seemed genuine. I mean,
I thought I did. I found her. Now, whether or not what she said is basis for a new trial, I'm not commenting on that.
no,
But to me, she was speaking. She felt credible in her story. She felt sympathetic to me because no one deserves to be harassed and called out and doxxed and all that stuff simply because they're telling what they believe happened. That's the story. You know, they're not in any way did she say Alex Murdaugh's a good guy or even that he's
definitely innocent. She said she was undecided.
Yeah.
But Judge Newman did find legitimate reasons to dismiss her. Now, one question I have is, did he have all the information?
That's right.
And also, was she confused? Because, some of the things that were said was, did she speak? And she seemed unclear. Was she talking about me or talking about other people when she was being asked these questions? And she
asked
was
questions about
from Judge Newman about her communications, and she expressed to us that she was concerned that her ex-husband, she was scanning the gallery to see if he was possibly out there.
Right.
She was scared. She had a restraining order against him at some point.
I think it's worth digging into this by the Attorney General or whoever might be in charge of this, because it's possible that Myra has maybe some of the time difference because your memory does different things, right? It's a while after. Yeah. But also it's possible that Judge Newman and Becky Hill might have some time things. And until we can hear or at least hear, maybe not see, the in-camera dialogue that went on between Newman and Myra, Juror 785, that will clear up a lot. Like, what was the questioning? What was he asking? What was the answer? But as we know, that's not been released. They say it's not being released because to protect Myra's identity, but Myra's out there now, so she doesn't care.
Well, okay, I'm gonna come back to our Facebook page, but it kind of ties into this. One of the comments, if you move forward a couple of pages to what was commented by Eric Bland on Twitter. So I'm going to get you to read it because this kind of, I think, ties into it. He says, I think it's, as my co-host of Cup of Justice, Liz Farrell,
astutely pointed out yesterday about Egg Lady Juror, she was rightly removed from the jury if her own words are to be believed. Judge Newman repeatedly advised the jury that they should never discuss their feelings about a case, whether they think that Alex Murdaugh is guilty or not guilty, prior to him charging the jury on the law at the end of the trial. The Egg Lady admitted that she had multiple discussions, allegedly with Becky Hill, throughout the trial, where she stated she was questioned whether Alec was guilty. This is an absolute admission that she violated her oath under Judge Newman's directions, and that is bland. Saying they were bland, and
I responded to him on Twitter. He did not respond back to me. I mean, he's popular on Twitter, so I'm sure he's just overlooked it. But I think it's confusing as just a person who's serving on a jury. If a clerk of court a court official asked me a question about what I think of guilt or innocence, and what she told us is that she said that she was still undecided. She wanted to she wanted to hear the closing arguments before making a final decision. But I would think you would think, okay, this clerk official, I'm okay to answer it because it's a court official and they're asking me. Certainly, they would know the rules better than I do.
yes. Now I don't know how that affects a ruling. Are they like ignorance is not part of it? But to me, absolutely, she could think that this is someone official
Right, like if
asking me, and maybe that's what they do. I don't know. I've never been on trial before.
or if Judge Newman asked her what her opinion was.
Are you supposed to tell the judge if he asks?
I mean, I think that there was some talk about that. I mean, was communicating with everyone that she was still undecided,
And when they call you in, and Becky Hill called her into her office.
like being called into the principal's office.
Like, oh, so what do you think? So, like, I could easily tell you how you think that is official business.
I do too. But I mean, I can see where the argument that is being made on the other side. Yes, they were told every single time they left the courthouse.
But if you and okay, maybe that is the official rule, but it's very gray because I could see how, okay, what if a person in power, official, a clerk, a judge, whatever, does it as a kind of a trick. Hey, come on in. So what do you think so far? And if the person says anything like, you're out of here.
I mean, it would be, again, I feel it maybe has, if you're being called into the judge's chambers, it almost has that I'm being called into the principal office feel.
Even if you're called into Becky Hill's office.
Yeah, either one. You're being something. They're asking me about something I did, which they think maybe was wrong.
Right.
So this same person who was asking about on Facebook was also questioning her credibility, but also said, and again, we're there to present the information. I think everyone can make up their own mind whether they think she's credible or not credible based on listening to her.
Yeah, because there's multiple YouTube channel comments like, why are you even giving her the time of day? Why do you even talk to her?
Well, this particular person was thinking that we were questioning Judge Newman, who is America's judge. Everyone loves him. We love him. I don't think we were questioning Judge Newman at all. We were just talking about what may or may not have occurred.
We don't know if Judge Newman knew everything.
We don't know that he had all the facts, and he probably made the right decision. I don't know.
We don't, and I don't even know, even if he knew everything, whether the right decision is made. We're questioning me. I can only speak for me. My question is, we should hear. Well, first of all, my first thought is we definitely should hear what she has to say. And as far as I'm concerned, the court should have heard what she had to say when she was doing that evidentiary hearing.
I'm still confused why we heard from Blanket Lady,
the juror who was an alternate.
The alternate, which she wasn't a sitting juror, and why we didn't hear from Myra.
That is my biggest issue with this whole thing.
And a lot of people are making her out to be this jilted juror because she was dismissed. That may or may not. I mean, again, everyone has to make up their own mind about what they think her motives were. I mean, I've seen some kind of chatter back and forth on Twitter about whether is she in it, like Becky, what Justice Toll said, the Siren Call of Fame, that she wants to sell books. Like they were alleging that Becky wanted to sell books, or is it possible that she wants to clear her name because she feels like all these false things have been said about her?
Right. Yeah. Or a combination. And she's not going to get retirement
why
rich.
wouldn't you want to make money? I mean, if you've sat on this jury and you've been subjected to all these things and you've written a book, then I don't know. I think everybody probably wants to make money off their book.
And like, I got news
we
for
want
you.
to make some money off our podcast too.
Right. She's not going to get retirement rich off of a self-published book. I like that. It's
I mean, you might, I don't know. Becky wanted to get a lake house, but I don't know. Maybe you might get to take a vacation or something like that.
Right.
Now, she did reach out to me. And, she's she's not used to this. I don't know. I hate that word troll because I never know what mean girl stuff. Like
vicious comments online.
Online, right? Where they
Attacking
were,
her.
yeah, they were attacking her, and accusing her of just being in it for these book sales and portraying her as a bitter jury. I'm sure this is your reputation. I know how personally it affected me. Oh
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I think it
People
took years off my life when this harassment happened online, and people are saying things about you, and you try to respond, and they take everything you say and they twist it around, and it's kind of one of these things. And I I was talking to her co-author, and he was saying that, I mean, someone made a horrible comment, told her like if he gets a new trial, she should commit suicide. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
People are
unbelievable. People
ridiculous.
say the craziest stuff, and you're
Eh,
not supposed to say commit suicide. That's what this person said. You're supposed to say death by suicide.
Yeah.
We know that, so don't write
Yeah.
us.
And the anytime things get personal, it's silly to me. If you want to dispute her facts, but going after her personally, that's just lame. You're a low life. You are just your basic these internet people, ex people. They went after you at the very beginning. You've got way thicker skin after being beaten down for a while.
Oh, I just blocked them
Blocked
all,
her
and I
or
don't
not
even.
listened
But
to them.
I really don't even care anymore.
Right.
And before we get, I do want to talk a little bit more about this. But one question, people, and we do not want to get into debate about this, but one thing was that she worked at this monkey farm, and a few people were bothered by it being a medical testing facility. Like, I have mixed feelings on this. It's very controversial, but I did stumble upon this really cool article about how, in I think it's the 50s, the South Carolina secret monkey farm helped develop the polio vaccine.
Hmm.
Well, it was just interesting. I like
Little
history. I
factoid.
know.
Yeah.
I feel like we need Michael DeWitt here with us for this. And it was actually in Okatee. And they would export these um, monkeys from India. And at the beginning, a lot of the monkeys were getting sick and dying during the transport. So, became some oversight of it. And Okatee, which is right down near
That's the name
Walterboro.
of a town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's the name of the town. I think it's in Colleton County. It's either in Colleton or Beaufort. I'm not sure. But I think it's Beaufort. They they chose it because of their location. The climate was good for the monkeys, and they were processed. It was like the Ellis Island of monkeys. This is where all the monkeys would come through, and they shut it down actually in 1959 after
Oh.
they developed the vaccine.
Oh,
And so
wow.
the current monkey farm is not this monkey farm,
Right.
but I just thought that was really kind of an interesting
It is a little interesting.
a little interesting history tidbit. Again,
It was in the 50s. It's not the same way
it's
people.
not the same way now. I mean, Myra said that the monkeys were treated very well.
And I'm sure people will say they're not. That's neither here nor there. That's another argument for another time.
Right. So then there was a comment on Twitter that someone sent me about, I guess, you shouldn't interview the egg juror.
Oh, yeah.
And
got a couple of
I
those.
didn't really I don't really get that. To me, journalism should be about presenting all the information and letting people make up their own minds. I didn't really like, what are we going to melt if we hear from
Hear-
someone that we disagree with? It
Right.
just was so bizarre to me that was the
got a
tactic
few
in
of
some of
those.
the comments, because again, I don't get it. I think you can definitely, and then there were some comments about being really kind of more into social justice from, hey, look, creators can do whatever they want. There's definitely a need for social justice. I think, look, we've had Jim Griffin on and we've had Creighton Waters on. We've been committed to,
Let-
again, are we going to melt if we hear from somebody? It's very strange.
No, and I think it's important to hear from them. You can make your own decision, but the fact of the matter, she was there every day right up till they convicted him.
I mean, personally, I found her credible and I thought it was an interesting interview. But again, make up your own mind. If you didn't like it,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to listen.
yes.
We're not forcing you.
And it doesn't, what she's saying doesn't necessarily change anything because it still has to go through the courts and their thing. It's not like she's espousing some crazy theory that it's going to be harmful to your ears or your
No.
body.
We should also talk about these notebooks.
Oh, yeah. I do want to talk about the notebooks. Yes.
So we mentioned this a while ago, and I think we talked to John Snyder about this. In South Carolina, judges get to allow or not allow note taking actually during testimony.
Their decision.
It's their decision. The rationale not to allow it is that you could erroneously write something down. You should, if you have a question about something, I guess you should request to see the transcript or look at the evidence or those sort of things. So you're not relying just on your memory, you're relying actually on what was presented to you. But jurors were allowed to take notes back in the jury room.
So, like at the end of a session, while it's still fresh in their mind, go write things down. That's the idea.
I know, because I'm a note taker. That's how I learn. I mean, I think I have to write notes, or my old lady brain will not function. I just can't remember. So I do think that it's a good. But apparently, these notebooks were left in the jury room overnight.
Ooh.
So the question being, there's no proof of this, but the question being is, did someone go and look at some of these notes?
It could have been used by either side.
And there are some allegations against Becky Hill's son about some eavesdropping type allegations that he's innocent until proven guilty. But those are some allegations that have been made against Becky's son.
See, I will, we don't always vent our opinion or anything, but my opinion on the whole thing is, what does it hurt to investigate it? If your job is the attorney general, I would love the attorney general to say something like this. I would love for him to say, Alex Murdaugh did it. He's guilty. We proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. However, I don't want to win by bending the law or messing with the system we have in place. And my job as attorney general is not only to put away the bad guys, but to make sure that the legal system works for all, indigent to wealthy. And I will investigate, this office will investigate. We're sure it was fair, but we're going to investigate to make sure he and every other member of South Carolina gets a fair trial.
Oh, I forgot something else that was really interesting this week. Was Fitz had an article kind of wrapping up their interview. They also interviewed the egg juror, as well as I think Anjanette Levy. A few people have interviewed, and of course Fox News Nation. But one of the things that they wrote in their article was, if these allegations against Becky Hill are true, could she have done this? Did she do this all on her own? I don't think they know. They know. It's just a good question. I mean, do we think that Becky Hill, if she did these things that they're saying she did she do it on her own? That's interesting.
Like search for a Facebook thing that would make up the Facebook thing. Was she in contact with the person who gave the anonymous email saying that she was talking to the people at the pizza place or whatever? All those kind of things. Like, was it like this? Was it this big conspiracy thing?
Well, and then in the book, the egg juror's book, they had some screenshots from this Discord group. And this Discord group is, I guess, a private membership service that Luna Shark offered. So the person that they're saying is Christine Avery. She's the Pizza Hut worker who sent the letter to Judge Newman saying she's having that Myra is having these improper conversations. In this Discord group, there was a screenshot taken where, gosh, there's that. Myra is, or Christine Avery is thanking Luna Shark and Mark Tinsley
For their help.
but that could mean anything. I mean,
Yep.
maybe this Christine Avery said, egg juror's running her mouth all over
What do I do?
Walterboro. What do I do? And they said, you need to contact Judge Newman or you need to contact an attorney, whatever. It could have been completely appropriate advice.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that it just seems to me. You check it out. That's just, like, it could be, and it could be end up nothing. It could be even what Bland said. So he was actually, once the clerk of court asked her and she responded, then she's off or whatever. But I think, and the fact that the state, I always want transparency. The state won't let us hear the in-camera conversation that went on with the attorneys and Judge Newman and Juror 785, the egg lady, Myra. Why are they not allowing that? Why would you just not release it? Myra doesn't care if her name's out there. Why are they not letting us see or hear that?
I agree. I think it would just put to bed some of these questions, and let us see it. I mean, we still have whether it's going to be the federal or the state standard about whether it matters what they said. A couple of questions, comments that we received this week too were like, well, she's admitted these things and, she's talked about these things, and she's the only one who has heard Becky Hill say these things. But, some of the other jurors said they heard things like, watch his body language,
Yeah.
or this is going to be a big day. So it wasn't really just her who heard some of these
They
things.
said it didn't affect them.
They said it didn't affect them. But I don't know, is just watch his body language, or is that enough for a new trial? Is that material? I mean, it's for a
And Juror Z was having some issues. She's not as loquacious. She's not as well-spoken as some of the others, so her message gets a little lost. But why not investigate?
Why not investigate? But then also legally, what the question is too, does it matter that Becky Hill said, like, is that material?
Because it's going to be green or...
Right, because it's going to be a big day. Is it going to be a big day because Alex Murdaugh is testifying? Is that...
How much?
How much does that matter?
I think the Supreme Court of South Carolina will
it's
clear
gonna
up a
be
lot of that.
Interesting to watch.
Very good. Any other comments, or do you want to get to some of the new subscribers and welcome them?
Oh, yeah, new subscribers. I'm done.
Maverick Cowboy, Martha Williams, Craig's 767, Krista Parks, Andrew Lee, all new subscribers, and we do appreciate that. The YouTube channel, best found through the Facebook page. We good? We good.
Good.
We good. All right, and we will talk soon, friend.